Okay, there are people freaking out about what Chris Collinsworth said about Aaron Rodgers. Take a listen from last night.
He doesn't care. I mean, have you seen a guy, and in particular this year, be more honest about everything he could? You may not agree with everything he says, but we have heard from the beginning of this entire season exactly what he thinks about everything.
Yeah, you think what he thinks about everything. And somehow that's caught that's caught wildfire. That's become viral. That here you have Chris Collinsworth saying, here he is telling you how he thinks. He did not say that what he said was 100% facts. He didn't say what he said was 100% true. He said he has been more honest than he had been previously. And he's told you exactly how he's felt. I actually think these are big things. These are big things. Because oftentimes the things that we say, we only tell, we think the truth is only one thing, but a lot of it is based upon your own certain perception. Like the truth, I think we think of as NFL fans, right? An outsider of an NFL fan, outsider of Green Bay, would say, hey, all of those moves that Brian Gutekunst and the front office that they made to get rid of older players, Jordy Nelson, for example, there are others, all of those were the right moves. Aaron Rodgers is saying, look, from his perspective, he wasn't arguing each individual move. He was arguing some of the moves, but also some of the lack of bedside manner in how those moves were made. Now, is that the absolute positive truth? Yes. From his perspective, it is the truth. It is how he feels. It's the same thing with getting inoculated or getting vaccinated. Right? Aaron Rodgers told you exactly how he felt. Right? He doesn't feel like he was misleading people. He's like, look, I said I've been vaccinated. I didn't say inoculated. And because of it, that is how I perceive things. But the biggest takeaway is this, right? And Aaron Rodgers is the perfect example of it. Whether you like his perspective or dislike his perspective, whether you agree with his truth or don't agree with his truth, and understand that everybody should evolve over time, you have to be left with only one question if you're the Packers. Is he worth it? And the answer is yes. Well, Colin Kaepernick was a pain in the ass. Colin Kaepernick isn't not in the NFL because he was a pain in the ass. It's because he wasn't worth it. Right? That's where Baker Mayfield is different than Aaron Rodgers, right? There are a lot of good attributes to him. There are some negative things. He does pay way too much attention to social media, to the regular media. But at the end of the day, the takeaway is simple. Is he worth it? And the Browns in the offseason have to figure out if he is. The Packers, look, he questions all of their moves. He hurts himself when he's, locked down, even though he should be protecting himself. He offers no sort of accountability. He's moody. He makes faces. There are things he says on McAfee's radio show that you wish he wouldn't say, like all of these things. But if you watched last night, you're like, okay, well, yeah, that's why they put up with it. Right? It's the same thing within a relationship. Right? That you're going to have negatives, but you have to, your takeaway has to be like, is this worth it? And if the answer is yes, then you keep proceeding. The answer is no, well, then you don't. And if you watched last night, the ownership of the Packers against the Bears, the performance of Aaron Rodgers on the biggest of stages, and I understand the Bears are not the 85 Bears, but a blind person can watch last night and go, damn, that dude is good. With all of the nonsense, with all of the perceptions of how things went down and how they should go down, the Packers are left with the exact same guess, that the exact same thought that we have, which is Aaron Rodgers might be a pain in the tuchus, but that dude is worth it. Here's Aaron Rodgers talking about how they got in a rhythm last night.
We just hit a couple plays to get us going, and once we kind of got into a rhythm a little bit, that was important. We ran the ball a little bit better there. Then we just started kind of slinging all over the place and scored that first touchdown. Then Sewell had the pick six to put us ahead, and then they got a couple scores. And next thing you know, we're looking at the wrong end of a back down 10. So the really, really important drive for us in the 2-minute to take it down there and score.
This is Aaron Rodgers talking about the record he set during the game, his 60th career touchdown.
Yeah, that does mean a lot to me. It really does. This rivalry does mean a lot to me. I'm almost an adult in Green Bay. I've lived here for 17 years. I know how much this rivalry means to our fans. To be a part of it has been really special. Obviously, to follow Brett and know how successful he was over his time and how many big games he played in against them. I knew I was, 3 from tying and 4 from breaking. So I'm definitely going to hang on to that ball. That ball is an important one.
60th career touchdown against the Bears. Ownership of the Bears. But it's almost like a scale you have, like a value scale you have with players, and you have that with friends, right? There aren't perfect friends out there. You like to think there's perfect relationships, but your takeaway has to be like, is it worth it? And Aaron Rodgers is worth it. He's worth the fact that he's going to question your calls. He's worth the fact that he's going to question your front office moves. He's worth the fact that, he's going to, no matter how much money he makes, he's going to feel like he's not loved enough. But he's so damn good. And, when he's right, it's so freaking perfect that you're like, dude, they're looking around today and they're like, we can't move on from this. We just can't. So don't move on to something different when you got something amazing. Just simply, and I think the Packers are doing this, rebuild kind of that level of trust with each other. If it's really as good as Aaron Rodgers played last night, then the Packers would be complete idiots to move on. And it feels like they know they're not complete idiots, which is why they haven't put the kibosh on anything that he's done, anything that he said. They've let him kind of hang himself with his own rope, but they've never criticized him publicly. They've tried to rebuild that, hey, you're our guy, we got your back, even if you go to crazy town with some of this vaccination stuff. We're not going to say a word, and they haven't. The Packers are smartly rebuilding their relationship, and they're doing so because they know, even though it was an ugly summer, and there have been some moments where you're like, geez, this doesn't appear to be going all that well. The net is such a positive. Anybody can think it's worth it.